Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. I'm Jesse Milestone, and today's video is going to be much more of a relaxed ramble regarding my opinions on horror films than an all-out shouting match with myself. It's going to be that way because I'm really, really tired. Also because Hocticus Maximus wants to know how I feel about horror films, so he's a patron, and so I'm going to do that thing, because he said to do it. I'm also being really entertained by how I can flip my hair and have, like, one eye, and then a different eye, and then, yeah. So, yeah, because I'm ridiculously tired, I also am just all natural, like, worse than all natural. This is not just regular me. This is me after jogging 3 miles, doing 2 Krav Maga classes, giving fencing lessons, not hydrating enough, and rubbing my eyes a whole bunch, so my face is a lot redder than normal, and my eyes are a lot more something. More like natural emo kid than normal. And my hair, forget about it. Let's not even talk about that. So horror films. Horror films. I do love the horror genre. I love it. I love it a lot. I love a lot of different kinds of horror films too. I'm not a person who's like, I don't watch slasher films. I enjoy bad horror films too, but all right. What I don't like is, so I love the jump scares that you get from like a well done supernatural style horror film, like a haunting, ghost, poltergeisty, whatever, kind of like blah, creepy shit everywhere. I enjoy those. What I really don't like is when the movie is dumb and like resolves nothing. I like it when it has some sort of like weird, creepy or ancient creature that doesn't die. It's also fun when it doesn't die at the end, because then you get to go home and be like, is it coming for me? I don't know. But I don't like it when it has like a disappointing, unfulfilling ending. That was like, I recently got to go see the newest Insidious movie as like a free preview, because LA, and so my friend and I sat down, we watched like all the Insidious movies before we went, and they got just like annoyingly formulaic at the end, and I thought like there was some good stuff about the different movies and the plots and the way they built it and the way they created the world and the rules of the world and all that, but I thought the endings were always, I mean, pretty much the same thing, and the confrontation was never scary. It was always about the person being brave and standing up to the fear, which is, I mean, a great message and all, if you're making a kid's movie, I guess, but just sort of totally unrealistic in the face of, like, the great evils they were squaring off against. So, that, you know, that I found disappointing. I love subversion of genre, I really do, which is, I think, part of the reason why I do like the crappy horror films, the ones that, like, they know they're not good, you know? Avalanche Sharks. It's a great one on Netflix if you get a chance. It's totally ridiculous. So like that stuff makes me happy. I enjoy things like that. Dead Snow. It's a Swedish film. It's Swedish or Swiss. I'm sorry to whichever group of people I offended by not. I'm not sorry. Fuck it. I like offending people. Be offended, fucking Swedes and Swiss and other countries that start with SW, which are none. There's a language, though. Swahili's a language. It has nothing to do with Swedish people or Swiss people. But anyway, I digress. Whatever. Dead Snow. It's a great movie. You should definitely check that out. Definitely has like a very it's Nazi zombies in the snow. How seriously are they really taking themselves? Like stuff that purposely really goes for the subversive element, like Cabin in the Woods, that's, you know, it's purposely is turning tropes and things on its head. Or another great Netflix watch, oh my god, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, which if you haven't watched it, you must. It actually starts almost exactly like Cabin in the Woods, which I find hilarious, but it's a straight up comedy framed like a horror film, and like done like a horror film, you know, stylized like it, but it's just totally absurd, ridiculous, laugh out loud, piss your pants. Oh my god. And Alan Tudyk's in it, so if you didn't have a reason enough to watch it, that should be it, and go see it. Yeah, that freaking crap. I mean, I love that intersection of horror and comedy. You know, Get Out was brilliant. Like, it was a really well stylized horror comedy. There was also a social commentary, but you had a lot to laugh at. TSA, motherfuckers. Like, that guy was the best, and if you disagree, you're obviously wrong or didn't see the right movie. Yeah. But I also enjoy slasher films. I'm one of those people who I'm like, I can't look away. Give me the most grotesque things that I can humanly possibly see. So, I'm into that. I dig it. I understand, like, how just, like, what is that? Why do we like that? Why do we watch that? I think that just speaks to a darker, grosser part of human nature that's in all of us, because I think humans are dark, nasty, gritty people. And maybe it's that. Maybe it's like, ooh, we like seeing that out there. We like knowing... Maybe it's like, well, we like knowing how awful these things are so we can feel better about our lives or ourselves and stuff like that, maybe. I'm not into like gross out factor. Like, Human Centipede has no interest for me whatsoever. I will never see that movie, probably. So that's one that I'm like the gross out stuff that, like, let me see how much I can disturb you. I want to be disturbed in, like, a good, unsettling way. I want to finish my horror films feeling deeply unsettled. One of my favorites of all time is White Noise, which had Michael Keaton in it randomly. It's supernaturally, it's really creepy is the best way I can put it. And there's some of the imagery in it just really has always stayed with me. You get these, like, 3 shadowy figures that just pop up, and they're just haunting and powerful, and I really, really liked that one. I actually been meaning to go back and watch it again. They made a sequel. I watched that because it had Nathan Fillion in it. It was terrible. Don't watch that. It had nothing to do with the original. It was, like, not even at all stylized like the original whatsoever. But anyway, so yeah, I loved Murder by Numbers as a kid, and as a kid, like, you know, a kid is old enough to watch people kill people. That, again, like, that twisted, I think I related to the main character, like, both of the main characters more than I'd care to admit at some points. That was one of the first films where I really got into, like, rooting for the bad guy in a weird way, like, not rooting for them, but kind of, I mean, it presents them as somewhat sympathetic. Well, it presents one of them as somewhat sympathetic anyway. And you are kind of rooting for him. Also, I find typically Sandra Bullock really entertaining in comedies and really annoying in dramas. And this was a drama, Blindside accepting. So I found her really annoying, and I just wanted her to fail and die. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. So that one really got to me. That also introduced me to the song Number of the Beast. So good on that. And it's also, like, if you haven't, this is a 180 on Ryan Gosling. I mean, people who know Ryan Gosling as a sexy, smoldering dude from La La Land and The Notebook, man, watch him as a teenage psychopath in Murder by Numbers. It's great. And that sort of led me, because the other killer in that movie is Michael Pitt. And so I got interested in him because he was that kind of weirdo outcast that I was really into in high school, and that led me to what is probably my favorite horror film of all time, and that is Murder by Numbers. Murder by Numbers, I have only seen the American version. There is a German version. They're both made by the same guy. Actually, the American version is a shot-for-shot remake of the German version, because the filmmaker felt that it was as relevant to American culture as it was to German culture. And this is a commentary. This is a subversive commentary on the slasher genre. Not quite. Yes, I'm kind of on the slasher genre. And it's so great because it takes all of your horror tropes and turns them on its head. Like, all the things you think, oh, you need this to be a good movie, it flips it and whirls it around, and it's just, it's psychological. There has to be a psychological element for me. There really has to be that, like, nagging, gnawing fear that's always there. And I mean, you have a psychological element in a lot of movies. And I want that. Like, I mean, even the Saw movies are a great example of a hardcore slasher film that has, like, a serious psychological element in it. So, oh my God. So, Funny Games, my all-time favorite. Oh my God, Funny Games. So this one is, yeah, so it's Michael Pitt again and this other dude that I don't know, and the family, it's like, it's Tim Roth, and his wife is some famous chick, and I can't remember her name now, but that's fine. And it's, so like I said, it breaks all the rules, right? So what do you think? Horror films have to have, typically, unless there are found footage style, they typically really, and even some of those insert a sound. Most of those actually have a little soundtrack, you know, that creeps in subtly. So they take it, and there's no soundtrack outside of diegetic music in the film, with excepting the title card, and it's like not soundtracky suspense building music when they do have it in there, you know, have someone turn on a radio. It's not, it's just like, it's crazy. It's funny because if you go even deeper into it, it's like this weird screamy rock thing, and if you look up that band is actually, it's a parody band of like screamy, like thrash metal, basically. So it's just the layers that we've gone through here. And lots of different things, right? Like, how do you, in a film, and not just like breaking horror tropes, but like other tropes, you know, how do you how do you make your characters, your main characters, like somebody hate a character? You kill the dog, right? Sorry, there are spoilers in this a little bit about funny games, but it's not going to spoil it because you have to see this. Trust, like the spoiling doesn't necessarily ruin the movie, but if you don't want the spoilers and want to see the movie, stop listening. And that happens a lot. The dog always dies, right? That's the thing that happens. And that dog dies like so early in the film. And that it kind of like, that sort of fades to the back of your mind because there's so much left to happen and build, and there's so much more character development that happens that really doesn't actually influence your opinion of the two killers. Like what else? Like the kid always lives, right? Kid always lives. Pfft, not in this one. Kid's the freaking first one to die, second one to die, first one to die. I think the kid's the first one to die of the family. And it's just like, boom, oops, dead. You have to, what else? Like, you don't want to break the fourth wall in a horror film because you want to preserve the integrity of the thing. Once you comment on the fact that it's this movie and there's this audience, it takes away some of the reality, it takes away some of the horror. Fuck that. Part of what keeps you entranced in the movie is the feeling that your villains could lose, that there's a chance for this people. They take that away from you too. They just destroy the reality. They set up one reality and they destroy that in its own little way, part of the way. And they make these horrible, atrocious killers just so adorable and likable, that it's and then it's so like raw and just lovely, and it just asks you why you want to watch this, because it's asking you to watch some things that are like, it's not, torture porn or anything like that, but it's asking you to like watch some, get deep in this, and it's intense, but it's just brilliant. It's yeah, like I can tune out and watch a whatever slasher movie, but this one just is like takes horror to another level, and it's awesome. It's just awesome. It's like the level of awesome as like all the fun little meta moments in the Scream movies. But like more and better. Like if you had those meta moments that made Scream so much fun and turned those into like an entire movie, you would get funny games. So everyone should probably go watch that. And it's funny because I think the trailer did not advertise the movie well at all. I think it was on purpose. I think it advertised it like a typical classic, horror film. And the movie itself is just so much more than that. So that's my recommendation, is go watch that movie. Yeah, that's it. What do you guys like? What are your favorite horror films? Tell me about them. What do you like about the horror genre? What don't you like? Are you like, no, I can't do horror? Does it scare you? If it does scare you, why? Tell me about it. I want to know. And then I'm like theoretically actually going to be on Instagram in a couple of days. So I'll tell you about that when it happens. And I guess you can follow me or something. And I will be yelling more this week. I promise. Wednesday and Friday are definitely hardcore yelling days. So if you like yelling, come back for that. That's all. Good night.